Good evening. My name is Nathan Zemp, and on behalf of my group, I will be speaking about the concept of financialization of private rental housing in Metro Vancouver. Financialization is a term used to describe the rising role of finance or money management as opposed to goods production in the modern economy. In the context of real estate, it refers to a change in rental building ownership from small mom and pop landlords and private companies to much larger publicly traded companies. These companies are known as financialized landlords. Real estate investment trusts, or REITs for short, are the most common kind of financialized landlord. They allow stock traders to invest directly in real estate by buying shares in the REIT. The investors receive dividends from the rental payments that accrue to the REIT. Financialization is significant because although all landlords are profit-driven, these larger firms tend to have more capital resources that they can use to pursue aggressive strategies for extracting profits. Financialization occurs because it is lucrative, and it is lucrative because land values and home prices are consistently increasing. Since 2003, as you can see in the graph, yearly increases in Metro Vancouver property values have been comparable to returns in the stock market. Real estate investment trusts have taken note of this and started buying up apartment buildings. The process of financialization is accelerated by neighborhood zoning. In most neighborhoods in Metro Vancouver, apartments are banned by zoning bylaws. In order to house the 35,000 new residents that move to Metro Vancouver every year, new apartments must be built in the few neighborhoods where they are allowed, which are almost exclusively lower income neighborhoods filled with older apartment buildings. This causes gentrification as existing low income residents are forced out of their neighborhoods and richer residents replace them. Financialization of rental housing empowers privileged financialized landlords and increases the vulnerability of renters. Financialized landlords employ two key strategies to maximize their profits at the expense of renters. The first technique, squeezing, involves maximizing profits by increasing rent or reducing the operating expenses of the building. The second technique, gentrification by upgrading, entails renovating or replacing existing units to attract a richer clientele. This requires the dispossession of existing tenants who are not viewed as profitable enough. While landlords enjoy immense profits from financialization, renters endure the negative impacts. Rent increases from squeezing make it difficult for renters to make ends meet. Residents who are evicted from gentrification by upgrading experience an increased risk of losing their jobs and their community social networks. Those who remain face degraded living conditions due to profit maximizing budget cuts to building maintenance. Together, these impacts all intersect to create or exacerbate long-lasting physical and mental health problems that disproportionately affect low-income families, single-parent families, racialized persons, and immigrants. Under neoliberal policies of the 1990s and 2000s, governments encouraged home ownership and cut back on social housing. This pushed more Canadian households into financial markets as aspiring home buyers and created a rental market that was increasingly dominated by private investors. Large corporations such as Starlight Investments and REIT were able to accumulate large sums of low rent housing units across Metro Vancouver, evict current low income renters, renovate the units, and then house higher income renters. A quote from Starlight's CEO sums up their success. Quote, "We think there is a definite housing shortage or almost a crisis level in Canada. And the good news for investors is there is no easy solution in sight. This is not good news for consumers," end quote. There are a number of ways we can resist housing financialization. All of the organizations shown on the slide, in one way or another, work towards ensuring BC renters have access to safe, comfortable, secure, and affordable housing. Housing Central is a collaborative effort of many stakeholders to advocate for affordable housing in BC, including the BC Nonprofit Housing Association and Rent Smart. The Vancouver Tenants Union and the Right to Remain Collective both fight against precarious housing while sharing their lived experience. while RentSmart provides renters education on their rights. In 2019, the Government of Canada introduced the National Housing Council, whose main goals are to investigate the implementation of the right to housing in Canada, as well as create an Indigenous-led body which creates policy and administers funding for urban, rural, and northern Indigenous housing. More locally, the City of Vancouver is working to make the approval process for developers easier and incentivizing the creation of nonprofit and co-op housing projects while also taxing empty homes, overall trying to increase the supply of housing. But more must be done to restore affordability in this city. The right to adequate housing has been federally recognized in Canada, but it carries no legal force and applies only to federal jurisdictions. Governmental policies so far have made little progress in addressing the ever skyrocketing housing market. The City of Vancouver has only constructed 6% of its goal of 4,000 new below market rental housing units by 2027. To conclude, we'd like to reiterate that houses are not just financial assets. Homes are not meant to make money for other people or to sit empty as the stolen land they rest upon accumulates value. They exist as a place to sleep, to eat, to work, to practice our hobbies, and to spend time with the people in our lives. Everyone deserves to have that opportunity to be safe, comfortable, and secure. Thank you for listening to our presentation. If you'd like to learn more, you can check out our poster at the back.